want to welcome you to our program today. I'm very excited about our topic today, and we have a very special guest. Her name is Dawn Brouwer. She's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And Dawn is the director of a very important, a very special faith-based ministry called His Hands. And so, Dawn, I want to welcome you here today. Thank you so much for being on our program. And we're all excited to want to learn more about His Hands. And so, His Hands, just to sum it up, if as far as like your mission statement goes, this is a ministry that serves who?
Anybody who is under or uninsured. Anyone who needs health care that does not have health care. It'd
be health care serving mind, body,
and spirit.
So really it's a holistic ministry. So it's a ministry that serves the whole person, and it's for those who otherwise would have a hard time getting this kind of service, right?
Yep.
And so it's a free service. It's a free medical clinic for those who are in need of it. And it just seems like so much today we hear so much about health care and the crisis with health care, that we have a lot of people that seem to be falling through the cracks and who are not getting proper health services. And so your ministry is very vital at this point in our day and age to be able to serve people. And also it's faith-based. And I think about what Jesus, as we read in the Gospels, He's healing, He's casting out demons, He's helping people to have a peace of mind, serving all those facets of mind, body, and spirit. Well, I don't know, you do have a short video that we'd like to show, and so maybe as an introduction to get us started, as far as His Hands and this free medical service, we will show the video at this time to kind of give you a sense just about, as far as what this wonderful, very important ministry is all about.
His Hands Free Medical Clinic, how may I help you?
In 1991, I made a visit to Chicago for the annual meeting of the Christian Medical Dental Society. And they challenged us at that meeting to look in our communities for ways that we could serve those who are without adequate resources. So we opened our doors in 1992, and we've been going strong ever since.
One thing that would surprise me as a volunteer is that you see a lot of different patients and a lot of different types of patients. There's a stereotype of what patients you'll see here, but they're patients that are from all over the world that have just come here and are trying to start a new life. See those patients that have just recently lost their job and lost their employment and obviously have lost their insurance.
All of our services are provided by volunteers here at the clinic.
Right now at His Hands, we need volunteers who can contribute 3 hours a month. We need doctors, dentists, dental hygienists, dental assistants, nurses, administrative support, receptionists, and prayer support. We need donors who can lift us up in prayer and provide financial gifts. We need you to help us so that we can continue to provide services to those in need. Please partner with us.
Any healthcare provider that's considering coming to His Hands to understand that it's really not that big of a commitment. If you can give even 3 to 4 hours a month, you're going to make a difference in the lives of others.
I go into the room with each patient that comes in, and I offer to pray with them about whatever their concerns might be. Through the offering of prayer support, we're able to reconnect them with God.
Everyone that I've met here, they've all been super helpful. Sorry, I'm gonna cry. They don't make you feel, like you're a nobody because you don't have insurance. His Hands is just, it's a godsend. Really.
Join hands.
Join hands.
Join hands with His Hands.
Well, that was quite a video that we saw, very impressive. And so just kind of some basic questions as far as Well, how did this wonderful ministry all start?
Well, as you saw in the video, Dr. Jim Bell, went to Chicago for a conference, and he was challenged by the Christian Medical Society to do something for those who don't have resources. And he put together this clinic with some colleagues, and they opened in 1992.
1992, so this ministry has been going on now for some time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so as we look at this ministry, any sense of how many people you've served over the years? Do you ever have a count of that, or is it hard to say? Lots and lots. Huh?
We know we serve at least 1,000 people each year, give or take. Sometimes people come for more than one visit, so we can have 3,000 to 4,000 visits in a year.
Well, that's really something. And so what services do you provide then as we talk about this holistic ministry? There's lots of services. When you say body, mind, and spirit, well, we can go off into a lot of categories with each one of those as far as what some spiritual needs are, physical needs, and also psychological needs. But, what would be some of the services that that His Hands provides?
Well, when you saw in the video, we provide mental health services for people who need that. We have medical, dental, chiropractic, women's health, physical therapy, and prescription assistance and prayer support.
I mean, that really encompasses an awful lot when you look at all of those services. I just want to focus a little bit on maybe the mental health area. That's one of the concerns that a lot of us have, as we work, like for instance with homeless people, and more, as we visit with people, especially those who suffer from mental illness or who have family members who have suffered from mental illness. One of the struggles today is, getting the person help. Yeah.
Most people who try to get mental health services can get an appointment to see a technician or a psychiatrist, but they cannot get medication sometimes within 4 to 6 weeks. So often we provide mental health services in the meantime, but we have a limited capacity. We maybe have 12 appointments each month. So it's not a lot, but we do provide that what we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so here again, when you look at free medical services, provided, I would think that, in some cases, I imagine you can almost become overwhelmed by just the volume of people that are really needing medical services. And so I'm just trying to think, as far as the, volunteers and staffing this, or I mean, as far as staffing, how many staff members do you have working at the clinic?
Yeah. We have 7 staff, but 4 staff work less than 15 hours a week. And then we have 3 staff that are full-time. Then all of our services are provided by volunteers. All of our doctors, dentists, nurses, they're all volunteers. A volunteer will put in anywhere from 3 hours a month. We have some doctors that put in 6 hours a week. So it varies, but we have about 130 volunteers that make the clinic run.
Okay, so you have professionals that volunteer their time. Well, that is really something. That's really quite a gift that they are giving to the community. And so as you look at that, to be able to have professionals, doctors, dentists, chiropractors, nurses providing, this very important care, so they volunteer anywhere from, you say, 3 to 6 hours a week? 3
hours a month, up to sometimes 6 hours a week.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
And then in addition to our professional volunteers, we also have non-professional volunteers that are receptionists that answer the phone and help make appointments. We have administrative folks that do some data entry and some filing. We also have people that help clean, people that help us with fundraising, marketing. So lots of different skills are used at the clinic.
Yeah, so you got... Well, to do a ministry like this, it takes an awful lot. Like you say, everything from, having some physicians there to people who can do administrative things. You mentioned even prayer support at one point. Are there certain people, like for instance, if just a person like myself, I am not a physician, I'm not a dentist, I maybe don't have the administrative skills that you're looking for. So how would a person like myself fit into this ministry?
Oh, I'd love it if you'd come. I know it's a ways from Dubuque, but we need prayer support volunteers to pray with patients. When folks are, getting tests and lots of different things done, they're not sure what's happening, and prayer support really helps people. In the video, you saw that people are reconnected with God, so it's a real good experience. So we ask volunteers if they would like to do prayer support to do 3 hours a month. We will provide training, and they're just meeting one-on-one with patients, praying with them about whatever needs they bring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in other words, for any of you who are watching this today, that you're wondering, this seems like it's quite a ministry. We see so much on the news about rising health care, people who aren't getting proper health care, and as Christian people, we're thinking, well, Christ healed the sick, and well, he ministered to every person, their physical, mental, spiritual needs. And a lot of times we say, well, we want to fit into a ministry like that, or even our church. We wish that we could fit into a ministry, and so this is an opportunity. I mean, talking about what a mission that that is available for people and in congregations, churches to fit into, and it just sounds like everybody's kind of needed.
Right. And one other way that churches can be involved is we often have churches come and do like a major cleaning, or they'll help us with some building projects, things like that. So if there's a youth group or an adult group that needs a project, they can call us and we can tell them what we have available. Mm-hmm. Mission committees will also provide support for us financially. And it costs money to run a free clinic, so the church can be involved in many ways.
Yeah, so financial, as much as most everybody here is volunteers, but still, it does, there's funding that needs to happen.
Right.
And so if they want to get in contact with the clinic, do we have some information that we could put up on the screen, like
Sure.
website, telephone numbers, things
Yep.
like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we certainly want to get people, I think that's the first thing, is just that people gain a knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge of just what is this ministry, His Hands. Maybe you've never heard of this ministry before, or maybe you've heard of it but just didn't really know exactly what it is. And I'll tell you, this is a ministry that has really developed over the past 24 years then. Mm-hmm. And it has served lots of people, up to 1,000 people every year. And so it's just coming to understand, what this ministry is, and then how you as a person of Christ, somebody who's compassionate and concerned about others, to say, we can all watch on the news and we can all say, oh, isn't that too bad? I mean, I find myself, I get all like, there's such a need here, and we just feel sometimes powerless to do anything. I want to do something, but I feel powerless, and all of a sudden, we hear about His Hands, saying, now I don't need to be powerless anymore. I can actually go and help in what I would consider to be a very critical ministry in our society.
Neat.
Okay, so now let's say that you get a person who needs to be on the receiving end. Let's say you got a person who is not feeling well, and they kind of fallen through the cracks, so to speak. They're just not getting the medical attention that they really need right now, and so what do they need to do in order? Is it just Cedar Rapids? Is that the only place where people are treated, or can people outside of Cedar Rapids come and benefit from this ministry?
The easiest way to get an appointment is to call our number, 862-2636. Just call and say, I need to make an appointment, and to tell us what it's for. Because we have different doctors for different needs. We have cardiologists, we have foot doctors, we have general practitioners, we have mental health practitioners, so it's important to know what that appointment is for. We have people call us from all over Iowa. We served people from 27 different counties last year. But I should also mention there is a free clinic in Waterloo, and there's also a free clinic in Iowa City. So we aren't the only game in town, but neither one of those clinics are faith-based, so there is a bit of a difference there. But if people are, in this area of the state, Waterloo's an option as well.
Yeah, so they can call the number
Yep.
and set up an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically just over the phone, you just
Yep.
have to kind of know basically, is this a psychological need, a spiritual need, a physical need, and then so that when that doctor volunteers, then there's a kind of a sense of when you get this appointment
Right.
scheduled.
Our goal is that every patient who comes through our doors receives prayer. Not all of our clinics have that. About 50% of our clinics have prayer support. So that's where the spiritual care comes in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so how do you see, obviously you see God working in this clinic. I don't know, can you share maybe some examples? I mean, every day I'm sure is an example. Every person that's getting some treatment, I mean, that's God working and God using, all these volunteers, professionals, non-professionals. Well, all of God's people who volunteer here are being instruments of God's healing, but what would be some real case examples, as far as I know everything is kind of confidential, but in a general way?
We see God in big things and small things. So I would say this is a small thing, but maybe it's a big thing. It depends on how you look at it. But we receive durable medical equipment. People who don't need a shower chair any longer or don't need a wheelchair any longer, those things come in. So there are many times where we have a wheelchair come in and we haven't had any for a while, and the next day or sometimes even that very afternoon somebody calls and says they need a wheelchair. And I just think that's really neat how God provides. We've had a volunteer bring in Bibles in Swahili, and that very day we had a lady who needed a Bible in Swahili. And I just think, those aren't chances. That's God appointed, and I just find it's fun. You just never know how God's going to show up and what He's going to do. Even though He's there all the time, in the showing up, I mean more like He's knocking on my door, on my face, saying, "Hey, I'm here. Notice me," and He does. So.
Yeah. So this is God's ministry.
Yep.
And when we pray, we're to say, "God, Your will be done."
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much God, do this for me and God do that for me, but rather, what can I do for You this day? And that this is an opportunity where God is calling, and God is using, and that God is providing all that this ministry needs in order to minister to people.
Yeah.
Okay, so people come there and they're receiving, all kinds of, is there like a degree to which you have to refer people on when it comes to,
we have relationships with both Mercy Medical Center and St. Luke's Hospital. And so, or now Unity Point. And we will refer people on for the care that they need. We have relationships with other practitioners in town that will see patients from His hands without charge. So it's a beautiful network.
Okay.
So. I should also mention another way that we've seen God work is we needed dental assistance, and we had sent out a card to all the dental assistants through the Dental Society. And we were praying for that, and in one day we had 2 people call us to become dental assistants. And that was just a real neat answer to prayer. The other thing I should mention is that our clinic director is going to be retiring pretty soon. And she's an RN, and we'll be looking for her replacement. In fact, we'll be posting that position within the next 30 days or so. And so if there's RNs out there that feel the call to work in this kind of atmosphere, I'd really like you to consider applying. We'll put it on our website, and you just never know what God will bring and how He'll work that out.
Yeah, so you're really, when you talk about faith-based, you're really walking by faith here, just trusting that God is going to provide everything that you need, in order to keep this clinic running. And that, of course, the big thing is personnel. Like right now, needing to replace you. You said it was your
clinic director.
The clinic director,
yep.
And this is somebody who needs at least RN degree then.
Yep.
And so, if there are any RN or people with an RN degree, and would like to be part of a very exciting faith-based ministry, that, yeah, we encourage you to, to look at the website, learn more. I'm sure that you would be willing to answer any questions that anybody might have, and, and to apply. Okay, so that's obviously a very critical need right now, is having a clinic director. But as we are here today, what would be some other needs right now that the clinic would have? To say, well, we could really use some of this and more of that, or these are things that we always need. It doesn't matter, when it is.
Yeah. Well, I first think about people. So volunteers would be helpful. Prayer support volunteers, receptionists, data entry, those would be important. Also, administrative assistants. We could use some dental assistants, dentists, always doctors and nurses. Beyond the personnel, the stuff, so to speak, that we'll need would be just like any other business. Paper towels, toilet paper, stamps, those are some of the things we use a lot of, Clorox wipes. And then any financial gifts that will, keep the lights on and all those kinds of things. The Lord provides, but He provides through His people, and so.
I hear so much about, I've known a lot of people who go on mission trips. I know doctors who will go on medical missions. I know a lot of people that will that will go on missions to other countries to build a school, to build a church, or just build housing, going there, assisting, and in all different kinds of ways. And that's all very important. We just really encourage that, for people to go on these mission trips and what it does for our faith. And it does, do an awful lot for that sense of purpose. But, as I listen to you, it's almost like we're going on one of these mission trips here at home. It's like we don't have to go on the other side of the world to say, I can go on a medical mission trip, or I can go to work and help, clean, bathrooms or a facility, or to answer the phone. And a lot of people today, you hear so many people saying, I need to have this sense of purpose in life. I need to have this sense that I'm making a difference. We kind of live and we are developed into, the selfish life, just me and myself and I, and then we finally get to a point in our lives to say, well, I think there's more to life than just myself. That there's a world out there. How can I make a difference? And to me, His Hands Free Medical Clinic is one of those places.
That's right.
And if you want to feel good about yourself every day, go there and serve.
And you must be hiding in our closet or something at work, because last year we had a nurse say, I don't need to go on a medical missions trip because I can come to His Hands. Last year we served patients from 13 different countries, 13 different languages. That's amazing.
Isn't that something?
The other thing is, if you do tend to go on one of those mission trips, we have some medical supplies in our basement that we cannot use. Patients bring us stuff because they don't know what to do with it, and we keep it and we send it out as people need it. So if you're going on a missions trip, give us a call and find out what we have in our basement, because there may be things you can take with you. And that's just really neat to be part of that whole giving process, that we can give back when people give to us. So,
and as far as knowing God, developing, that, well, you see God's, this is called His hands, and you can see God's hand working in just marvelous ways. Obviously, like you're saying, this isn't by coincidence. This is the hand of God who is working and providing various things. Like something's happening one day, you realize, well, now I understand, because today we need it.
Right.
Looking at really seeing God in action, and seeing God in action in you. That's a lot of what I see that this ministry is all about, is to say, if we're looking for God in this world, well, come to His Hands Free Clinic and you will be seeing God in action. Obviously, this faith base, that you're walking by faith and you're seeing, your faith unfold, and just strengthening your faith. That's part of it. It's just as you volunteer, not only you feeling good about yourself, but you're developing and growing in your relationship with God.
That's right.
Because you're seeing God working. How can you not? How can you even deny that after working in a ministry like this? Well, yeah, so I'm just trying to think here in the little time that we still have. I just really encourage people to, to look into this and to, whether it's yourself to say, well, I've got a few hours a week or a few hours a month. It just doesn't sound like you're looking for, well, you got to give this amount of time before you can serve here. If you're able to give an hour, I'm sure that you're saying, hey, we could use you. So whether it's you as an individual or as your church or some faith-based organization or whatever organization that you're in, is that you are willing to work and that you've got those, that God's open hands are saying, well, come, we welcome you and want to serve, and also to encourage people to say, as far as if you have a need of this service, to not hesitate. We hate to see somebody suffering or not getting well because of the lack of medical treatment when there's something that's so provided.
Yep.
And so whatever ways that you can serve, whether it's using your medical skills or administrative or just going in to, to help clean, to pray with is so very important, or even if you're saying, well, I can't go down there physically, to say, but you can always use the financial support as well. It sounds to me like this is, where every dime that is given is a dime well spent. Well given.
Yeah. We try to use our resources very wisely.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Well, Dawn, we just, here again, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and helping us to learn a little bit more about his hands and how vital and how important this ministry is. And here again, I think the best way that we can learn more is by actually going there. Going there and spending a little time, learning more, seeing all the good work that is happening, and seeing how we can get involved. And it just sounds like, for a lot of us, Cedar Rapids isn't all that far. And so if we don't live right in Cedar Rapids, we could certainly make that trip. It seems like there's good roads. Maybe all good roads lead to Cedar Rapids, right? Well, that sounds like the Lord has opened up a lot of very good roads. Well, Dawn, God bless you and your ministry, and thanks for being on our show this day, and I want to thank all of you for joining us this day as well.